Hello, everyone. This is Jill here to give the Purdue versus Marquette post-game recap. Final score being Purdue 79, Marquette 59. This was an interesting game, and I think at the beginning of the season, a lot of us thought this was going to be a very tough matchup, just given how Marquette was ranked, how they defeated us last year. But I think as the game progressed, you could see that there was a dominant performance from Purdue, which was great to see. But of course, there are always things that can be talked about and improved on. So let's get into that. For pregame thoughts, what I was thinking about before the game: one, have a good, well rounded game, distribute the ball, get a lot of players involved, and let's start seeing some consistency. It's a home game, so let's also utilize the energy, get some solid points, get people on the bench involved and excited, and, give the fans something fun to watch. And then if it is a blowout game, make sure that the ball is being distributed, points being sent around the entire team, and get some of our younger guys more comfortable playing, tough teams like Marquette. And overall, I think we did have a dominant performance. We didn't play our best game of basketball, but I still liked a lot of things that we did. So a couple of highlights, just real quick. Team stats: 54% from field, 30% from three, 80% from the free throw line. And then 13 turnovers were some of the bigger key stats that I was looking at. From the three-point perspective, very low percentage for us. Surprised that we didn't shoot it very well in Mackey, but I think we hit some key threes when it mattered. And, that's important to do as well. Just being able to hit shots, even if it's not going down consistently, just find a way to get an open look, and some of them will eventually drop. That's my perspective usually. Really, I think the biggest story today is just feed the post. It's obvious that we have a great advantage with our bigs and having a number of them that are an offensive threat. So let's continue to feed the post, see what kind of opportunities pull up from there. If we start getting doubled down low, pass it out to the perimeter and then make him pay from three. So that's been kind of our offense DNA for a while. And I just like seeing that kind of efficiency whenever we play like that. So hopefully we keep that up. I really enjoyed seeing, Oscar Clough be so effective. And, even like TKR, while he didn't have like 10 plus points, he was still really effective and just trying to create space, find open men, and was very efficient from my perspective. 13 turnovers. I think this is just key. Take care of the basketball. There was probably 8 in the first half alone, which is surprising. I think we were a little sloppy at times. And Marquette does like to create havoc on the defensive end and try and generate steals and things like that. So it was probably not unexpected, but it is still surprising to see kind of the back and forth of turnovers and things like that. We were fortunate enough to also force a lot of turnovers from Marquette, so it was pretty even for the most part. But again, like I've said before, take care of the basketball. This was a handsy game where we were really trying to, generate turnovers and things like that, but it also led to some sloppy looks from us. So let's just kind of fine tune that, clean it up. And I think if we do try and make steals a part of our game, that we don't let that impact our offense either if we're doing transition offense and things like that. I think when we play tough D, we're really hard to beat. And there were some really good opportunities to kind of stop Marquette from shooting. I think they had, 3 to 4 minute scoring drought in the first half. So that was good to see. I think that even translated to the second half. But I think there was also some moments where we lost coverage. And we were fortunate enough where Marquette, instead of shooting the ball, they went to dribble and drive, which then led us to reset everything. So that was something I think we can continue to work on. But I think if we play tough D, that translates better to our offense, and we're able to just get stops. I think when we get stops and we get, opportunities to score on transition, that's when we really start to shine. So hopefully we can keep that up. I liked a lot of players and what they were able to do on the defensive end and really trying to, stay in front of their man. So I think that can always be improved, but I think it's been better over the past few games. And then overall, I think this wasn't, again, our best game of basketball. We were a little bit sloppy on certain plays. It felt a little static. There's a lot of game stoppage because of turnovers, of fouls, just things like that. And I think that slowed down the pace of the game. And I think there's just more opportunity for us to get better on defense, get more consistent with our threes. I think that's probably something to keep an eye on moving forward, is how we shoot the ball from the perimeter. And then three, when we're running our offense, are we giving a look into the post to score? Because we had, great opportunities there. Oscar Clough was like impossible to stop. Let's continue that. It's working. Why stop it? And then let's talk a little bit about the players. I'll start with Omer. I've given him a hard time in a few of my discussions, but I think him playing a 2 is a very solid position, and he just looks like he shoots it so much better when he's given the opportunity to catch and shoot. So I'd like to see him continue to do that, still give him opportunities to bring the ball up and try and run the offense. But I think he is more effective on the court when he is in the corner, ready to shoot a 3, maybe drive to the basket once or twice after a pass from Braden or something. That seems to be, the best way that he can make an impact and just start to see the ball go through the net. Because like that is what he has to deal with right now, is getting more consistent with his shots going down. And obviously when Braden's off the court, Omer is taking the ball up, and I like giving him that opportunity in practice, especially during, good matchups like this, or like good teams. But I also think there might be an opportunity to give like CJ Cox that position to bring the ball up. He seems like a more methodical player, where he's very patient, waiting for the opportunity to pass, to run a play, things like that. So I wouldn't mind seeing that a bit, but I know that's not exactly the intention for the lineup. So that probably won't happen. But again, like CJ Cox has had experience bringing the ball up last year. So I don't think it'd be horrible if he did that. So the other player I'll mention too is TKR. I think he had a very quiet game from a stat sheet perspective, but when he was on the court, his presence was very apparent and important, I think, for the team overall. He had 9 rebounds and 10 points. And while that was a quiet game for him, considering what he did last year, I thought his rebound grabs were really important and impactful. His overall attitude on the court was great. I think he got a lot of fouls. It was really, a tough game in the paint, just from the perspective of Marquette plays tough D. They're really swiping at the ball. Some swipes at the player get unnoticed. And while typically you would see him get frustrated and upset about lack of calls, I think he had really good composure on the court today. And that just led to, I think, the rest of the team trying to find opportunities to score when maybe he wasn't able to get good looks because he was either getting doubled, a lot of on-ball pressure, things like that. And then I think the last 3 players that probably most people are looking at like as key impact players of the game, Oscar Clough being absolutely unstoppable with 12 rebounds and 22 points. I think he was perfect from the field. That's insane and awesome to see, and love to see that him be so efficient and effective on the court. So nice to know that even though we have TKR being like an All-American type player, that if he isn't able to produce and score for our team, we've got Clough just to like pick up where he left off, really. And then Braden Smith, he's always taking care of business. I think his attitude on the court was great, and trying to be leading by action. He had 10 assists, which I think everyone is always looking at because of the all-time assist record, kind of within reach. And then today he also surpassed, I think, a key stat of 1,500 plus points, 550 plus rebounds, and 850 plus assists. So he was the second player in NCAA history to ever do that. Props to him. Sounds like he doesn't really care about it, so at least we'll talk about it so that people don't forget. Fletcher Lawyer, he's been having quiet games recently. I think he is kind of a cornerstone to our gameplay. So when he shoots well, I think everyone else gets opportunities to shoot well too, or just mentally feel that way. He had 15 points today, and I think that was really important for him to see threes go down again, and then to play in a home environment where everyone's excited for it. So super great to see. And, for him, it's really just like consistency, being that presence on the court to be a team leader, and he's pretty vocal typically. So I think it's better when he plays like that, vocally and just excited. So love to see more of that. And then overall, if you look at our team stats, player stats, you'll see, we only had 3 players with 10 plus points, but I liked how other players on the bench and just on the team got shooting opportunities and, points scored. Like CJ Cox, Jakari Harris, Omer Myers finally starting to hit some of his shots and got to the free throw line, which was great. So loving to see that, because I think when we have a lot of weapons, especially on our bench, it gives us opportunities to just pass the ball around, not feel like we have to rely on one single player to outperform day in, day out. And it's been just really great to see a lot of these guys start to build more confidence. I think that's the biggest thing that I'm looking for, especially non-conference play, is get our guys to a position where they feel comfortable running plays, playing tough D, and then we're ready for conference play once that rolls around late December, early January. That's kind of what I wanted to cover today. It was hard to kind of see all the stats because I think at the end of the game, probably around the 6 or 7 minute mark, things started to get a little lopsided based on who we had on the court. But, again, a nice solid win in our books. I think it's just important for us to continue to show, a dominant presence on the court, get a lot of players involved in the game. And, for these types of games, they weren't maybe the best that we've ever played, but it was a 20-point win. So that's pretty exciting to rewatch and everything like that. I think the biggest things that we can take away from this game is take care of the basketball, play tough D, and, stay confident. These threes are going to fall, and play our offense, play our game. We know what we're doing. We've got experienced players. We've got 11 games under our belt. Let's keep this going. Next up, we have Auburn down in Indy. That is Saturday, December 20th. So if you guys are going to be there, be sure to cheer for our Boilers. Should be a fun and exciting game. Auburn's looking pretty good. That's pretty much it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.